understand the urgency.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yep.
So as Catherine's identified there, the direction on future amendments of the zoning ordinance to look at that, if the board would like to move forward with that, would ask for motion and direction that the planning commission review the industrial districts for use by right for special use, that can be relayed to the planning commission. It, depending on timing, can be done separately or can be integrated into the master plan discussion process.
I think if we have a big project such as what Tom is proposing here, we do this with some urgency and not wait till the end of the year or whenever the master plan is done.
Yeah, we wouldn't change technically this application. If the planning commission changed language and the board adopted that, technically that particular project would go through site plan review and have to come back to the planning commission under the new ordinance. So it's, I think, the clearest pathway is what Google is identifying. If we can work that out that way, it's already approved, it can move forward. Even at best, if the planning commission looked at language, changed the districts, brought it to the board, we're talking about a 3-month period, and then the process, which may cause frustration for the applicant, have to come back under the new ordinance provision to get, there wouldn't be special use approval, but it would be site plan review approval. So the quickest there is probably the next 4-month period.
Well, I think Catherine knows the direction from the
Yeah,
board.
I understand. But if you know, want to direct the planning commission to start that, that's
Yeah.
helpful.
But in the future, that removes that particular requirement. So in the future, whatever districts would be changed under industrial by right, everyone would know that prior to looking at the project and be able to calculate that in. It makes the process quicker, lower thresholds.
So part of this is the result of years ago, when the fathers of the county and the city were together, and they didn't want any improvements. They didn't want the downstate people here. They didn't want I-75 going anywhere near Cheboygan. And obviously, the composition of the board all changed. The people who are up here owning property and making investments, they've all changed. And we think differently. So some of these old things are still in these doggone ordinances. Need to be changed. That's kind of where we're at.
So, are you done?
You're right.
Do you need a motion to look at that ordinance? And
If you want to make a motion to direct the planning commission to review that, that would give us the policy authority by the board to relay that to the planning commission.
I'll make that motion to review the industrial ordinance and the special use
And I'll support it.
clauses.
Okay, we have an ordinance, motion and support. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll call?
Commissioner Warfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Claremont?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sangster?
Yes.
Commissioner Ostman?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Eastman?
Yes.
That's 7-0, that's pretty positive. Thanks for bringing that up, Tom.
Well, that's good. I just, legal counsel said it's, most zoning ordinances I've seen, especially in the industrial class, have use by right. I mean, if you're doing, a special use permit is, if he's gonna put up a nuclear power plant on the site or a cell tower or something, it's something different than what he's doing. He's not doing anything different than he's been now.
Been doing.
So, I don't know why, you can't just have it use by right. Do things like that.
Voting is part of the vote. Thank you, Tom.
All right.
Michael?
Sure, I wanted to bring up the juvenile cell issue again. And I would like to request that next meeting, on the 27th, that we actually put an agenda item on our agenda, to have an open discussion about the juvenile cell with the sheriff and his staff, and also, I'm sure the judge would be interested in that, and so that, we don't seem to be making any ground with this. They have sub-meetings, subcommittee meetings, and I've been contacted by my townships and things like that, our township, and, some of the other citizens, some of my board members have asked questions about it. We don't really totally know what's going on. I do to a certain degree in talking to Jeff and somewhat to the judge, but I think that we're just not really making ground on this. And I would like the board to be able to bring their questions forward so we can have an open forum and put it on the agenda so the public's aware of that we're going to discuss this subject, and we can move forward with this and make a decision as to what direction we're going in.
And you want that in a public meeting or a closed session?
No, I'd rather have it at a public meeting. I want it on the agenda so that the people, when
Part of a
the
meeting.
clerk puts out, our agenda, she can put it on there so the public, the media, whoever has an interest in this can attend this meeting and perhaps make some comments. But I know, again, each one of the board members that I've talked to has questions, and I'd like to put that all together and at our next meeting, have a discussion on that.
Okay. We'll do that. Just schedule, get everybody scheduled, that's the key. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I have nothing. Steve?
Yeah, I just, a quick comment, for the commissioners that went to that open meeting on Friday with the Department of Natural Resources and DEQ. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge our administrator for not only setting the meeting up, but leading the meeting, and the administrator came up with some good points. And your service is appreciated, Jeff. I admire the job you did. You have to have been in the room to recognize it, but you had everyone's respect. And led the conversation, and after an hour and a half of conversation, it appeared as if we were making some progress. And there were great ideas put forward by the group themselves, the citizens group themselves, also by the manager of a road commission, and eventually the head of DNR's fishery began to come around, and he proposed even yet a greater idea. So it was really great to see an hour and a half, 2 hours devoted towards open conversation where it appeared as if we were working towards some type of resolution. Unfortunately, the deputy director of DNR came on the line and said this just is not going to happen, and shut down all further discussion. Very, 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 very disappointing. But I believe the group will move forward with the lawsuit around the Michigan environmental protection laws, which will directly address the concerns that I know many of us have with this solar farm being built over the waterway, and also Roberts Lake just being indiscriminately torn down. So I'd like to tap onto what Commissioner Claremont said, and that is we should control what we can, and at this point it's time for the Creo to go away. And whether we can stop this development in Grant Township or not is questionable, but we can certainly protect the rest of the county by doing so. So I hope we'll all think about that, and I would ask each of you individually to go back and look at what St. Clair County, Michigan has done with their ordinance in regards to solar, and see if there isn't something we can learn there from that. I would challenge each of you to read that thoroughly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve. Jeff?
Guys, one thing, on the news yesterday, they had the Supreme Court of the United States refused to hear that Northern Michigan case on the forfeiture. Can you shed some light on,
Yeah.
does that lead us off the hook, or?
Well, I didn't hear what the US Supreme Court said, they didn't take the
They
case. So
wouldn't
the
take it.
question is, if somebody, you foreclose on somebody's unpaid taxes and then you sell the house, and you were only owed 4,000 and you sold it for 100.
Right. that's-
Yeah, we understand all that, and
Yeah.
more about the law, because we've been,
I don't know what happened, but obviously I would have to take a minute to look at it
Okay.
and advise. Jeff, I don't know if you've got anything to add.
Yeah, we have an attorney that covers that area.
Perfect.
So I expect that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought.
I don't think it's me.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, those are, go through federal level.
Okay.
So I expect an update from
Okay.
CMPA.
Cameron's not forward? Okay.
Tax.
Oh,
We'll get an update from them and.
Okay.
so it's your understanding that they wouldn't take it up?
They refuse to take it, but I don't know what that means, I don't know if that drops it or.
It just means it's dead where the last decision was essentially.
The last decision, I think what they said was that they don't have to pay that extra
Well,
money.
then,
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
You got anything, Dick?
I do a couple of things, Mr. Chair. I would like to ask the question, discuss the, doing away with the Creo and the ordinance and the master plan. When do we move on that? When can we move on that? When can this board take up the consideration of eliminating the Creo, eliminating the ordinance, and either following the St. Clair County ordinance or just eliminating it altogether and let it go back to the state? Now, I haven't had the opportunity to read that St. Clair County, but I think that's a very good idea. But my question is when do we do this? I think time is of the essence because of these two other solar projects that we're looking at coming down the pike. And maybe, I was at a meeting at the city last week, and there was some discussion of a data center. I don't think there was anything proposed, but at the old paper mill site, it appears that the Cheboygan Commons thing doesn't look like it's going forward. But I'd like this county to be prepared. So what would be the timeline that we could move to eliminate that Creo, eliminate that ordinance, and either adopt a new one or just let it go to the state? Because once again, we're talking about it, but what's the timeline?
Ken?
Yeah, I can, yes, so, when you adopt, to repeal this is a zoning ordinance, right?
Right.
So we would
Understood.
have to go through the process of having a public hearing at the planning commission, which has to be noticed in the newspaper at least 15 days ahead, okay? So you figure out when you back out the day, you advertise it in the paper, public hearing at the planning commission, and then it comes to you, okay? You could adopt it, and then we have to publish that in the paper, and it's essentially repealing the Creo, right? You could, at the same time, if you were ready to go, adopt the whatever new version you had, or you